What do you imagine when you think about supermarket employees? Underpaid and overworked with most people hating their jobs? You wouldn't be wrong in most cases. But there is one supermarket which has been on Fortune 500's 100 Best Companies to Work For list continuously for 26 years. Publix. If you're not from the Southeast, chances are you haven't heard of the company. But its origins and philosophies are so unique, it deserves a video of its own. For starters, their employees own 80% of the business, and it is the largest employee-owned company in the US. It's a living testament to a different kind of business model that works. But don't let its humble southern roots fool you. Publix is a powerhouse in its own right, boasting $54.5 billion in sales in 2022, up 13.6% from the previous year, despite such economic conditions. Its unique work culture and ownership structure can be attributed to its founder's philosophy and thinking, which we will explore in detail in this video. Publix isn't just popular among employees either. It has one of the most loyal customer bases. So why is Publix so popular among everyone? Where did it start? And how did it become so successful? We will answer everything in this video. Publix had an interesting start. George W. Jenkins, lovingly known as Mr. George by the employees at Publix, started the company in 6 September 1930. Jenkins was born in Warm Springs, Georgia on September 29, 1907. His family ran a general store, so he knew a thing or two about running a grocery store. But that's not what he wanted to do, at least initially. By the time his family moved to Atlanta, young Jenkins had finished high school. He enrolled in Georgia Tech to study engineering, but he never actually completed it. During one summer break, Jenkins started to do a variety of jobs, but for some unknown reason, he never worked at his father's store. He began to work as a clerk for Piggly Wiggly in Atlanta. During this time, he realized that this was not something he wanted to do, so he left and worked as a real estate agent. But unknown to him, his journey with Piggly Wiggly was not over yet. He was unaware his experiences with Piggly Wiggly could help him build a fortune. Around this time, Jenkins went to Florida for a visit, and safe to say, never left. In Florida, he met a man who owned dozens of Piggly Wiggly. Jenkins needed money and the owner needed an employee with experience. After learning about Jenkins' grocery store experience in Atlanta, he hired him immediately. Jenkins was back to working in Piggly Wiggly. He was a hard worker, and his background in grocery shops meant he had an advantage. The owner was so impressed by his work that within a few weeks of him working there, he was promoted to manager. He soon realized that keeping the store clean, well-stocked, and being friendly with the customers was the way to go, as he saw the sales quadruple in less than a year. This realization would be crucial, as he would implement all of these to make his own business a huge success. He was soon transferred as the manager of the company's largest store in Winter Haven. He managed this store for 4 years. The owner who hired Jenkins had to sell his business to a businessman from Florida in 1930. Jenkins was young, creative, and full of ideas. He had various ideas about how to make the business more successful. The new business owner never visited the businesses in Florida, so Jenkins never met him. He decided to meet the new owner and share the ideas he had, but unfortunately, the owner dismissed him as he was busy playing golf. Hurt by the behavior shown by the owner, Jenkins returned to Florida with the aim of starting a store of his own. He decided that he would implement all of his ideas in his new store and also make it a place where ideas from everyone were welcomed. So in 1930, he started his own store and named it Publix. Publix was actually a struggling theater chain during that time, and Jenkins liked how it sounded, and most of them were closing, so he took the name for his business. Had the owner stopped playing golf and listened to George Jenkins' ideas that day, Publix probably would not have existed. Wild to think about it, right? So the journey of Publix officially began in 1930, and Jenkins opened his store right next to Piggly Wiggly. Let's just say Jenkins took being dismissed by the owner quite seriously. He wanted to directly compete against the store he worked half a decade for. During the 1930s, the economy was suffering as the country was in the middle of the Great Depression. The competition was not to earn a ton of profit, but to stay afloat. The two stores were in a tug of war for the customers. If one would offer a premium product, another would offer something better. This went on for a while, but the Piggly Wiggly could not sustain such harsh competition and the worsening economy, so the store closed. A win for Jenkins, I guess. This single store made $120,000 in sales in 1934. In 1935, Jenkins decided to start another store. Despite the bad economy, his stores were doing financially well. The ever so creative and full of ideas Jenkins was not about to stop just by having 2 stores. He had big plans for the Publix company. He wanted to open Florida's first supermarket, and he wanted to do so by adding tons of innovation. He wanted to install air conditioning in his stores. This might be the norm now, but back in those days, no supermarkets had ACs. So in November 1940, Jenkins opened what he called a food palace at 199 West Central Avenue. This store had air conditioning, automatic doors, refrigerators for frozen items, and its own donut and flower shop, amongst other things. This kind of facilitated grocery store was unheard of during this time. Safe to say, Mr. George was way ahead of his time. As World War II was going on, there was a shortage of materials, and even if the company wanted to expand and build new stores, that was not possible. In 1945, Jenkins purchased 19 all-American food chains and turned them into a Publix store. It was in 1951 the company moved its headquarters to Lakeland, Florida, from Winter Haven. In 1957, the donut shop in the supermarkets was turned into a full-service bakery, and to this day, it remains one of the most well-loved parts of the Publix supermarkets. The domination of Publix in Florida, as well as other neighboring states, had started. In 1974, the company achieved its first $1 billion in sales. The innovation and creativity of George Jenkins never stopped, and it has played a huge role in the success of the company to this day. By the mid-1980s, every Publix store had ATMs, and it was one of the first stores to install ATMs. By the late 80s, the sales had exceeded $5 billion. The company has expanded in the southeastern states, with Florida having the most number of stores. As of June 2023, there are 1,381 Publix stores in the USA. Florida alone has 874 stores, which is about 63% of the total number of stores. Currently, there are Publix stores in 8 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina, Tennessee, North Carolina, and Virginia. Recently, expansions have begun in Kentucky. Now let's talk about the reason why Publix seemed to grow so rapidly and is so well loved by the community overall. After being dismissed in such a rude way by the owner of Piggly Wiggly, Jenkins vowed that no employee of his would ever have to go through that. Being an employee himself, he understood the impact happy employees played in the success of the company. So he decided that his company would be an employee-owned company. 80% of the company is owned by the employees, and the remaining 20% is owned by the Jenkins family and the board members. The employees can get the stock through various programs offered by the company: an ESOP profit plan, 401k, Smart Saving Makes a Richer Tomorrow plan, and an employee stock purchase plan. The company is a private company, and its stock cannot be sold without it first being resold to Publix. As it is an employee-owned company, the better the company does, the better the employees are financially. This motivates the employees highly, as they do not constantly feel like they're being exploited by the company. This is not the only proof that shows the company cares greatly about its employees. Since its inception in 1930, the company has not laid off a single staff member. When the employees are treated well, this means this directly reflects on how they treat their customers. This helps build good employee-customer relationships and ensures the customers come back again and again. Once the customers get used to the environment in Publix stores, they develop this sense of loyalty towards them. This definitely helps their growth when they're able to retain their customers in such a way. The prices in the stores are a little bit on the higher side, but here's the thing: the quality of their products is great, and with the customer service it comes with, I think the customers feel like it's worth it. Another important factor that comes into play for their massive growth is their store's location. The Publix stores are usually located in upper class and upper middle class neighborhoods, which means the people are able to afford their slightly higher prices. Along with this, the company is not afraid to put stores near each other. What this market saturation provides is access. The more stores there are, the more access people have. The stores are well stocked as well as super clean, and this enhances the customer shopping experience. When Jenkins first started the store in 1930, this was exactly how he envisioned his stores to be, and they have stayed this way for almost a century. One of the reasons for its growth is always that the company has never swayed away from its founder's vision for the company. Jenkins wanted the employees to be treated well, and the customers to have the best experience while shopping in their stores. Along with this, he wanted his stores to reflect innovation and technology from the very start. The company has stayed true to all of these things, and these things have contributed highly to the growth of the business. The company also has a reputation for being one of the most generous companies for its philanthropic contributions. This helps the company to build a better image in the community. And who would not like to shop at a company that not only treats its customers and employees, but also its community well, right? It was also ranked #1 grocer by Forbes in terms of customer service and charity. I guess it is well deserved after all it does for its customers and the community. All the work they put towards providing quality service to the customers has paid off. In its recent SEC filings, the company reported 13.6% increase in sales from the previous year. The sales rose to $54.5 billion in 2022. On May 1st, the stock price increased from $14.55 per share to $14.97 per share. Not only this, but their net earnings have seen an increase of a whopping 100.8%. The company had net earnings of $1.2 billion for the first quarter of this year. That is an increase from $618 million in 2022's first quarter. Earnings per share also increased from 18 cents per share in 2022 to 37 cents per share in the first quarter. By the looks of it, the company has truly stayed true to its slogan of "where shopping is a pleasure," and has been able to provide its customers with exceptional service and its employees' satisfaction. And it won't be an exaggeration if we say that this has been the major reason for its growth. Publix is proof that a company can truly thrive if you treat your employees right.